Daily devotionals for September 1st. Today's scripture will be Ruth 4. I'm going to start in verse 4 and read some scripture through to verse 17, okay? Now, remember, Ruth is just laid at Boaz's feet and basically proposed to him, and he says to her that he would take care of business. Okay, he said, "What you ask, I will do for you." But there had to be things put in the right order. So the next day he goes to the men in town, like the town council gets them seated, and then he had to confront the closest kinsman redeemer, because there was one closer than him. So starting in verse 4, it says, "And I thought to inform you, saying, buy it back, buy the land back, in the presence of the inhabitants and the elders of my people. If you redeem it, but if you will not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, for there is no one but you to redeem it, and I am next after you." And he said, the man says, the nearest kinsman redeemer said, "I will redeem it." Now we have a pause. Verse 5, "Then Boaz said, on the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also buy it from Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to restore the name of the dead through his inheritance." Now, the close relative said, "I can't redeem it for myself, lest I ruin my own inheritance." Because if he did, then it would interfere with the inheritance he has set aside for his children, okay? Because this child, if he marries Ruth and has a son, that child would come before his own children, so he has to decline the offer, which I'm sure made Boaz very happy. So he declines, and now I want to read in verse 9. Boaz said to the elders, well, they had to exchange a shoe. That's basically what they did. We would do a handshake. They would exchange a shoe, a sandal. So now Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are witness this day that I have bought all that Elimelech and all that was Chilions and Mahlons from the hand of Naomi." So he bought the property back. He redeemed that, which was Elimelech, Naomi's husband, and her two children, the two sons, Chilion and Mahlon. Verse 10, "Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, I have acquired as my wife, to restore the name of the dead through his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren, and from his position at the gate. You are witnesses to this day." So basically, when he bought the land, he redeemed that land, he then would marry Ruth, okay? He couldn't marry Naomi. Naomi already had children, so he had to marry Ruth and have children with her to restore her husband's inheritance, that lineage, okay? So even though this was like the right of inheritance, and so that's what he did. Now, what is really interesting here, the fact that Orpah went back, remember she went back to Moab, had she stayed, she would have received inheritance also. However, she went back. So she forfeited her inheritance because she had a husband also, which would have been, that bloodline, that inheritance would have been restored to her. Now, I want to look over in verse 17. Now, of course, they get married, Ruth and Boaz marry, and they have a son, and he is named Obed. Verse 17, "The neighbor women gave him the name, saying, there is a son born of Naomi, and they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David." Now, they named him, the neighbors named him, and they said he is the son of Naomi. Now, I used to think, isn't that kind of weird? It was not the son of Naomi, but even though Boaz was the rightful father, the father of the bloodline, he really carried in the spirit the bloodline of Elimelech, Naomi's husband. Okay, that's why they say it is her son, because Boaz had to carry on that child being born, even though it's his child. It was to restore that inheritance, to restore that bloodline of Naomi's son, which was, of course, Ruth's husband. Okay, like I said, the Orpah, she lost out all the way around. She would have been wise to follow her mother-in-law like Ruth did, but she didn't. Okay, so that was a restoration of the right of inheritance, and why he is called, Obed is called the son of Naomi. Okay, all right, well, that finishes up our book. There's a lot more that could be said in that, few short chapters, but that's the keys that I brought out this time. Okay, all right, till next time, be blessed.